You rarely ever see guys go to Crawford's body.
Maximize. But Cavillaskis,
Second right hand that I've seen from Cavillaskis.
I like the patience of Cavillaskis.
Thinking, you know, he should.
You see a guy, around that and make,
Cavillaskis comes forward and
Be smart.
to the body, and look at the 30%. He had a 19-10.
Covered well. I didn't think it was a knockdown.
Cavillaskis.
All right, what it do? Welcome to another one for Al Cuerpo Boxing, which means to the body. So let's get with it. Let's talk some boxing. So quick shout out to my guy Puro who recommended that I check out the Kelly Pavlik fight. I'm sorry, the Kelly Pavlik interview. Yeah, go check out Pavlik's fights too. Really, really good, talented boxer in his time. Go and check out the recent interview. I think his name is Mr. Villegas. Marcos Villegas interviews Kelly Pavlik on the Fight Hub channel, right? This is called Fight Hub. And Pavlik gives a realistic breakdown or what Canelo and Crawford need to do to win their fight, or maybe just an objective scenario without really giving strategy, right? Well, he does give strategy more towards Crawford. I'll get back to that if I remember. But again, this week and in previous weeks, I uploaded a video where I've been talking about the whole concept for pound, right? Because check it out, guys. There is a theme going around whether or not Canelo Alvarez would get credit for this fight should he beat Crawford, which I believe Canelo is going to beat Crawford. And I think a lot of fans will be surprised or shocked in that process of seeing Crawford lose, or perhaps the way he will lose. Fans might just dismiss the whole entry of Canelo versus Crawford from the get-go, and I myself included. So I kind of have to remind myself to, when I'm being optimistic about this fight, maybe I'm doing Canelo a disservice, or maybe I'm doing Crawford a disservice in downplaying the fight. But I have a better angle for you guys to make it more objective for us boxing fans that love boxing, for us practitioners, the more realistic scenario. And thanks to Pavlik for doing a recent video on it. But I want to talk again about the concept of pound for pound, right? So what's the difference between Canelo and Crawford's business career, their business goals throughout their legacy, right? Well, one is obviously Golden Boy Promotions. They operate differently than Top Rank did, right? And I'm starting with the past because it all makes a difference on how you move your fighters, right, to higher weight classes and in the time that they're doing it. Because without a doubt, guys, Canelo and Crawford are contemporary pound-for-pound fighters of this time, right? They're contemporaries of one another when we're talking about the pound-for-pound list. So again, what is pound-for-pound? They say that pound-for-pound is subjective, right? But at the same time, you can't downplay pound-for-pound and saying, well, it's just more of a subjective and fantasy type of perspective, when in reality that's not the case, guys, because we have to give homage and respect to legends of the past that have gone up in weight and have given us great fights, all right? So just to make a quick perspective or scenario on the current situation, if Crawford does not beat Canelo Alvarez, then it simply means that Crawford is not a great like Sugar Ray Leonard, or let's say even Tommy Hearns. We'll keep it at that right now. We'll keep it simple, all right? Guys that went up to weight, guys like Hearns, who was tall, so he had somewhat advantages of absorbing more mass while going up in weight, of course, up to cruiserweight, right? And then Sugar Ray Leonard, who I believe went up to 175, if I'm not mistaken, or 168 as the cap, when he fought, Daniel Lalonde in 2 consecutive divisions, right? Because that was the introduction of 168, but it was also for the light heavyweight strap and the 168 super middleweight title, all right? So let's keep it simple. If Crawford does not beat Canelo, it means that Crawford was not as great. Pound for pound, guys, with the concept of pound for pound, moving up in weight, right? The pounds, how you're able to fluctuate in weight and show the fans, prove to yourself, show the sport what you can do when you are traveling within weights. And I actually like that because, yeah, it's true. Let's, like, for example, with Golovkin, a badass, all-time great middleweight, without a doubt. But at the same time, I thought Golovkin's management, his handlers, and that's why I brought up Golden Boy versus Top Rank on the initial theme about this, in that Golovkin was probably not managed properly to show his greatness. And daring to be great would have been Golovkin should have already gone up to 116 at the very least, to entice Ward's handlers, Andre Ward himself, and even like the fans of Ward, the fans of Triple G. And don't get me wrong, I'm not downplaying Golovkin's moves. I'm just saying, take advantage of the situation when you're in your prime and prove your greatness, all right? If you choose to stay at one weight class, okay, that's fine. But again, guys, Golovkin was bigger than Hagler. He was bigger than Hagler. I think Golovkin's skill, his repertoire of shots, his jab was so great and so good that he could easily handle guys at 168 and even possibly to 175, without a doubt. I shouldn't say possibly. Golovkin, if he managed himself properly, moving up in weight up to 175, you would see even more resistance because Golovkin had a monster chin, monster resistance fighter. So he could easily handle that weight at 175 as he went up, and he would look a lot more swole and built, you know? Kind of like, imagine the recent fight with like that one guy, Katiev, right, who fought Morrell Jr., right? Very, very husky and very chiseled out muscle physique. Imagine a Golovkin like that, but at 175, all right? Trust me, he would have looked like that. And just imagine his jab at that. Of course, things will be slower, but that's said for everything when you're moving up in weight. Canelo's not as fast as when he was at 154, right? This is the given, even 160. Canelo's speed has diminished, but that's natural. That's what's expected, right? The same thing with Terence Crawford. Again, guys, 10-ounce gloves is a lot different than 8-ounce gloves. I mean, not that much different, but for those of you that are practitioners, you know, I mean, even the sweat as it accumulates in the wrists, in the wraps, on the gloves itself, there's going to be a little bit added weight come fight night, all right? It's not the same so much as when you're grinding hard in the gym. You're perspiring more during a fight. There's more adrenaline. You're more nervous. You're getting more overheated, realistically, in a fight or flight situation, right? Literally, that's what it is. You perspire more. So the gloves, they're going to accumulate a bit more sweat. The reps are going to accumulate a bit more sweat. And guys, that's the difference when you're rocking 8-ounce and 10-ounce gloves. Trust me. The thing is, and I said it before, you guys know we've been saying this for months. I mean, Canelo's already seasoned with 10-ounce gloves in pro fights. Forget about what's going on in the gym and sparring. That's all light work. It's not a pro fight. All right, so take all that in consideration. What does that even mean? Also, the thudding power, the crispness. There's more, with more padding and more wideness in the glove, that's more towards Canelo's advantage. Maybe even for Crawford, but again, the weight is going to accumulate, and even like Canelo, his deltoids, right? His deltoids are bigger than that of Crawford, so they can handle that arm weight. All right, so just keep that in consideration. And right now, I just uploaded what happens when Crawford likes to fight, when he likes to get into exchanges, as we call it, right? Trading. Look at Crawford. He likes to come out as a dog, and in that, we see what happens to Crawford. He gets clicked. And I've been saying this before, guys, is when Canelo, when he's able to shift weight, guys like Berlanga or more specifically John Ryder, I want you guys to remind yourselves, go look at the highlight clips of when John Ryder gets rocked on the inside. Remember when John Ryder fell on the second time? It looked like a knockdown, but in the second time, Canelo like hit a really nice, like short right hand, and it shifted Ryder's weight, guys. It shifted that weight. Same way as you interpret when you're hitting a heavy bag. But he shifted that weight, and Ryder lost his balance. He lost his footing, and he tripped over and fell. I've seen that many times when Canelo's hitting guys on the inside. He literally shifts their weight. So what does that mean? Crawford is not heavier than those guys when they're rehydrated in the ring. Or, more importantly, Canelo's used to that weight, guys. So again, I asked the question: when was the last time that Canelo fought a guy with Crawford's size? Don't even mention Amir Khan, please. Don't do that. Something more like Austin Trout, refilled, Erislan de Lara, refilled. Those are more realistic scenarios. And of course, unfortunately, that was a 154, 155 Canelo Alvarez, a drained Canelo Alvarez, and that's why I always bring in the analogy, or I should say, realistic perspective scenario that when you're practicing or when you're cutting weight as general practitioners, when you're hitting the sauna, you're not 100% when you have the flu or when you have a cold. That's literally the difference between a guy that's cutting a lot of weight, right, early Canelo years, versus the more current season Canelo, who's shaving off, let's say, maybe 10 or 12 pounds versus 20 pounds. And all these fighters are doing it, right? Crawford's done it when he was at 135, cutting 25 pounds easily. Devin Haney at 135, cutting so much weight up to 25 pounds. And same thing with perhaps Shakur Stevenson, who looks pretty big, looks the same as a Conor Benn side by side, if not maybe a little bigger, right? So what does that mean when I'm talking about contemporary times? It means which management, what business has been doing it faster, right? Of course, money is a difference. ESPN is a different platform than The Zone or HBO, right? They've all had that experience, Top Rank and Golden Boy Promotions. But the thing is, for me, Crawford could have already been right now, Crawford could have already been a middleweight champion if he wanted to. Doesn't mean he would have touched 168, or perhaps he could have been somewhere like a catchweight between 160 and 160, just to get the feel out of his post-career greatness. But Crawford didn't do that. Crawford, unfortunately, started late in his career to move up in weight. He could have already been at 160 middleweight champion. So in essence, Crawford is daring to be great in that he's taken a crazy challenge to go up and fight Canelo. But again, guys, Crawford himself, he said in the last, 3 years beforehand, or maybe 2 years, that he didn't have interest in fighting a Canelo Alvarez, that there are weight classes for a difference. This is Crawford saying that himself. So how do you interpret that nowadays when you've got a country that's really deep in sports washing, a figure like a Turki Al-Sheikh that has reformed boxing in the Western world for political reasons, guys? Turki Al-Sheikh's a casual, but for political reasons. And if you guys know me, I've been saying that PBC guys should just go over to Turkey and steal that money. Take it. Just be careful on how you file that, your income with the taxes. Be very careful, because there will be whistleblowers stateside that have a gripe against the Saudis, that might whistleblow what's going on in boxing. But at the meantime, be careful how you file your earnings. Hey man, it's on you. I recommend receive crypto, because there are, anonymous ways and profiles in which you can collect crypto. I'm sure it's already being done right now, but I'm sure Crawford, and you guys have heard Crawford saying he wants more fights. Turki Al-Sheikh said that Crawford wants more fights. So if the Saudis see an interest in having an All-American star continue to represent Riyadh season for another 2 years, how do you conserve that? How do you protect that? It means that Crawford has to play a safe game in this Canelo fight, and that's not how you're going to win a fight against Canelo. You can't win it playing safe. We saw that with Jermell Charlo. We saw that even with Bivol, but the difference, obviously, Bivol is a badass great, higher, bigger fighter, a bigger 175 pounder than Canelo Alvarez, has the skills, and of course, again, size makes a difference. Weight classes make a difference, and Bivol was just better than Canelo, especially that night. I still want the rematch, and that's the reason why I downplayed the Crawford fight in general, even the Skull stuff. But again, we had to get Skull for this undisputed run for Canelo versus Crawford. So again, guys, go and check it out. Go and check out Pavlik's recent interview on Fight Hub. Check out the clip again that I'm about to upload in the initial of this video, so you get an idea of what happens when Crawford likes to trade in a dogfight. And let me ask you again, did Madrimov touch Crawford with the right hand? Doesn't matter if Crawford's in southpaw mode. He's getting clipped while he's getting in exchanges. And if you guys watch the fight when Tim Bradley and Andre Ward are doing the commentary for Crawford versus Mean Machine, right? Kavlilovskis, they're saying that what Crawford should not do is get in an exchange because he's getting clipped. And Canelo is a superior fighter than Mean Machine. Canelo is a superior fighter than Madrimov. So just make some common sense out of it, and I still continue my stance, my ground, that Bomac, by design, guys, by design, because they want bigger bags for the next year and a half. Crawford's got to be safe and healthy, right? Not take too much punishment. I think Bomac, to be on the smart side, they're going to stop the fight in the late rounds, either on the stool or they're going to throw in the towel. And it's really up to how Canelo wants to come aggressive towards Terence Crawford. So that's what I have on this one, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I'll probably do another video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.